Hello, friends. I am Claire Jones, owner of Liminal Clarity, and I am a change guide that helps guide conscious visionaries as they navigate transitional periods, both professionally and personally. So, I am jumping on today to give you one of my favorite rituals that I've developed, which is a closure ritual. I call it the death of self. You can call it a identity shift. You can use this for when you are transitioning out of an old job, out of an old house, out of an old relationship. It is a great ritual for closing a chapter and starting a new one. So I am happy to present it to you guys today. Are you ready? All right, let's dive in. So, the first step to any ritual is setting your intention. What is the point A that you are moving from and the point B that you are moving towards? And today we are going to focus on closing up point A and then welcoming ourselves into point B. So, to close up point A, I recommend you get out a sheet of paper. It can be any size you like. It doesn't really matter what kind of paper, it doesn't really matter what kind of size it is, whatever you have around the house, whatever feels meaningful to you. Maybe if you are buying a new house, moving out of an old house, you use paper from the old house and then use paper from the new house to welcome in the new one. Whatever feels meaningful and intentional to you. Today I'm just going to use basic draft paper. So, to close out this era of our lives, we are going to do a mini funeral for that point A that we are moving away from. So, I recommend creating a little headstone, and I like to add a little grass at the bottom for good measure. And then I put RIP, whatever it is. So for me, it was an identity shift, so I'm going to put Old Claire here. And as you're doing this, I recommend you are in a quiet place free of distractions so that you can really immerse yourself in the experience. And feel free to not judge yourself as this experience goes on. Feel free to allow whatever boils to the surface, whatever bubbles to the surface for you, because all feelings are valid, all experiences are valid, and this is your personal transition. So there is no right and wrong here. So I like to grab a lot of different colored markers. You can grab different pens, you can do it in pencil, whatever feels natural to you. And I like to write around the headstone things that I associate with the old point A that we're moving away from. So maybe old Claire was systemized. That's one thing that I'm moving away from. I realized that my obsession with systems was a trauma response. And so I am now becoming more intuitive rather than systemized. So I would write systemized here. And then I'm going to grab another color. And I am going to write over here fearful. Old Claire was fearful. She felt desperate. You know, if you have an old house, it may be broken. You know, it may be small. Whatever you are moving away from, we are representing that on this page. So, Old Claire was also, let's see, scarce was one. So, I'm going to put scarce on here. Whatever comes up for you. Nothing's right, nothing's wrong. Just choose whatever feels right to you. So I'm picking another color. You can do it all in the same color. I'm a color fiend, so I do it in all different colors. All right, so let's see. Old Claire was restricted. I'm going to put restricted down here. And you can put as many of these on here as you like, or keep it simple to a few. Again, it's what works for you. So I'm picking another color, and I am going to put Old Claire was I mentioned desperate before, so I'm going to put that on here. So, yeah. All right, I'm picking another color, and I'm going to put rigid up here, non-flexible. All right, so you get the picture at this point. You fill this page if you want. You can leave it to a simple few, whatever feels right to you. So we are going to take away this page and create a new one. Now this is where we're going to start shifting into point B. Whatever the new thing you're trying to shift into, we are going to start heading in that direction. We have not yet closed the door on point A, but we want a vision of where we're going. So this can be a variety of different things. What you visualize as the point B is going to be unique to you. But for me, I like creating a welcome home sign because you are welcoming home this new identity. You are welcoming home this new career. You are welcoming home this new home, literally, if that's what you're welcoming in. So it can be a variety of things, but I like doing a welcome home sign. So I am going to put in big bubble letters. And then we're going to put whatever we're welcoming home. So for me, my new persona, I call 24 Karat Claire. So I'm going to create a welcome home 24 Karat Claire sign. It can be a new house for you. It can be a new job. It can be a new pet. It can be a new relationship. Whatever you're welcoming home, we're going to make it really clear that that's what we're welcoming home. So for me, it's 24 Karat Claire. And again, we're not worrying about them being artistic masterpieces. We're just going for intention rather than perfection. All right, so we have our welcome home sign. So again, we're going to go back to our colored pens and pencils, whatever you desire, and we're going to do a similar exercise where we write all around here things that we identify with the new point B that we're moving towards. So I'm going to put free because new 24 Karat Claire feels free. I'm going to put unbothered. As you can tell, this is a little bit easier for me this time around because I've fully transitioned to 24 Karat Claire. So it was hard to remember things about old Claire. Abundant is going on here. Relieved. Supported. And this doesn't have to be one word. It can be phrases. It can be even images if you want to make it more of like a vision board and cut out images from a magazine. It's really up to you to flex your creativity with this activity and make it your own. So I'm going to put a few more things on here. Let's see. successful. I'm going to put kicking ass. And you can write inside the letters, you can write outside of the letters. Again, we're not looking for perfection here. We're just looking for meaning. And I'm going to put balanced. So you get the idea here. So this is what we are keeping, the point B, and this is the direction that we're moving in. Again, we are setting an intention, setting our directional sense to this compass. This is going to be our compass that we're working with here. And so this thing is going to be a living, breathing document for you. I keep my welcome home sign on my desk over here so that I can see it all the time. It's kind of like a vision board. You can put it up wherever you want. You can put it in your bedroom, you can put it in your bathroom, you can put it in your journal, something that you return to routinely. So this is point B. But before we can get all the way to point B, we still need to put point A to rest. And so that's where we're going to bring back our headstone. And this is where we're going to get really intentional and immerse and explore and connect with this transition and really solidify it in our minds. So get some scissors. And we're going to start cutting this into pieces. I recommend making this a meditative activity, again, somewhere that is calm and quiet and distraction free. We are really literally ripping up the old thing. We are closing the door, we are moving on, and we are doing it in a meaningful and intentional way. This is a great time to listen to old music, watch old things. Anything that reminds you of the old self, you're saying goodbye to it. It could be a smell, it could be a sound, it could be a piece of clothing, it could be a food, a drink, whatever sensory experiences that remind you of the old thing. So I put it into strips, and now I'm going to do smaller squares like this. We are immersing ourselves in the sensory, tactile, tangible experience of moving from one stage to another. That is the point here. All right. So I have all of my little squares, and it's a fun experience to cut all this shit up and say goodbye to it. And so next, I'm not going to do it on the video because I'm indoors, but next is that you are going to take these outside and get yourself a heat-proof container of some sort, a bowl, a trash can, a fireplace if you have one of those patio fire pits, something like that, because we are burning these. Isn't that exciting? So I like to burn them individually and say thank you for what you provided for me, but you are no longer necessary. And so we are slowly feeding these into the flames and letting them go. We are thanking them for their I'm blanking on the word that I'm looking for. Their contribution. We're thanking them for their contribution to our lives. We know that they served us up until a certain point, but we are now saying goodbye. So we are slowly but intentionally feeding these into the flame and making room for something new. Feel free to cry. Feel free to mourn. This is a closure experience. So any emotions that come up in the process are valid. Honor those emotions, honor this process, and actively participate in it so that you can have this tangible experience of feeding this old aspect of you to the flames. Flames are very cleansing. Flames are very purifying. So we are actively cleansing the demons. We are cleaning out those cobwebs and closing the book on this old chapter. So intentionally, strategically, thoughtfully, mindfully, we are burning what was and thanking it for the impact that it had on our life, and telling it can go now. We are releasing it. We are letting it have its own path, because that path is no longer part of our path. And so we are just intentionally releasing, thanking, and completing. So you might have some ashes left over by the end of this if you are containing the ashes in a bowl or in a trash can. If you are using a fire pit, it's going to be a little harder to collect the ashes, but I recommend collecting the ashes if they are available and releasing them into the earth somehow. You can release them into dirt. Some people recommend releasing them at the base of a tree or into rushing water that is running away from your home, not running towards your home. That's very important because you are releasing it. You don't want that energy coming back to you. So, and even some people use crossroads as a way to release these ashes into the earth. And we are literally burying our old self. We are having a funeral for it, or this old house, this old job, this old relationship, this old pet, because we are giving it back to the earth. All things were created from the earth, and now we are giving it back so that the energy can then be reborn, reimagined, reincarnated into something new. And so that is going to be the closing portion of this ritual. You are releasing those energies back into the energetic field of the earth around us. And again, feel free to cry, feel free to scream, feel free to let all of your emotions have their place in this ritual, because you need to cleanse that out of you. You can't just hold it in. Let it all out, release it, and thank it for its presence. And that's pretty much it. So we are going to continue to keep our welcome home signs somewhere visible for us so that we can have that reminder of the transition. But we have now moved on. We have now started this new chapter. So celebrate it, love it, enjoy it, share it, whatever feels natural to you. I hope that was helpful. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm always here to support you. Take care.